Ain't got no boundaries to hold me back. Boundaries is what I lack. Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Conflation Station. Hop on board the next train out, and let's take a ride to a place where anything's possible.
Hello, and welcome to the Conflation Station. My name is Hugo Your Way, and I'll be your tour guide for today's podcast, including political commentary, conspiracy theories, and some cool music from the Electric Glove Orchestra. At the Conflation Station, our team of creative writers and novice journalists combine elements of irony, satire, and pure absurdity to create insightful political commentary and homespun conflated conspiracy theories taken from today's news headlines. In the first segment of our show, known as the 14th Circuit, or what I like to call the Court of Public Opinion, renowned raconteur the Reverend Rusty Stubblefield shares his unfiltered and unhinged views about America's constitutional crisis. His topic this week is the First Amendment. Rusty, the microphone is all yours.
Well, thank you, Hugo. Today I'm going to talk to y'all a little more about the U.S. Constitution, specifically the First Amendment. So I'd like to get this here started by reading that there amendment verbatim, including punctuation. Lots of folks don't like to include the punctuation, but I reckon it's kind of important for y'all to understand what the framers of the Constitution intended at the time they put their quills to paper. So here it goes. With punctuation. Quote, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, comma, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, semicolon, or abridging the freedom of speech, comma, or of the press, semicolon, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, comma, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, period, end quote. Now, as y'all can plainly see, this here First Amendment includes some mighty powerful ideas. And these ideas was predicated on the fact that these here United States was no longer going to be under the thumb of a king. So, those wig-wearing founding fathers wanted to get it damn straight that their new country had no resemblance to the monarchy they left under that madman King George. However, if you look closely at the structure of the British government back then and compare it with the structure of the newly established United States government, you'll see they's both quite similar with one big difference. They ain't no mention of a king running the show here in the US of A, even though some of those wig-wearing founding fathers thought good old George Washington would have made a heck of a king. Unfortunately, today, some folks think that Donald Trump would also make a heck of a king. Pardon me, I digress. Now here's why I told y'all that the punctuation in that there First Amendment is so important. Those semicolons tells us there's more than one big idea that the framers wanted to include in that amendment. Religion was the first of those big ideas. You know, separation of church and state. It didn't matter much back then because most folks was Protestant anyway. Speech and the free press was the second big idea. And third came the people's right to complain to the government about the government itself as individuals and collectively when they saw some shit going down that they wanted to get fixed. Now remember, these big ideas wasn't included in the original Constitution. The original Constitution had to be amended years later to fix her up. And this here First Amendment addressed the things that needed fixing the most. These were the rights that the common man, you and me, was deprived of under the King of England. And until the First Amendment came along, the common man, you and me, didn't even have when the original Constitution was finished. So if there's three really big ideas, why did the framers of the Constitution stuff them all into one big amendment? Well, let's leave that debate up to the constitutional scholars. But in my own humble opinion, in order to make each of these three big ideas ring clear as a bell, each of them could have had its own separate amendment. Accordingly, the First Amendment could have been the first 3 amendments, but that would have given us 13 amendments to start off with. That may have been 3 too many and wouldn't have sounded as good. 10 amendments sounds almost biblical, don't they? You know, like the 10 Commandments. Sounds like the Founding Fathers was conflating church and state, the very thing that they is amending the Constitution to avoid. Anyway, those Founding Fathers was mostly lawyers, and they liked obfuscating and conflating things to make them difficult for you and me to understand. Heck, back then, most people like you and me couldn't even read anyway, let alone understand tongue-twisting legalese. The commas in that there First Amendment show that there's way too much packed in there for you and me to understand. Why was the Founding Fathers conflating freedom of speech with freedom of the press? Maybe in their minds, they's one and the same. Same goes for the right to peacefully assemble and the right to bring up complaints to the government. While they seem like 2 separate ideas, maybe in the minds of the founders, they too is one and the same. Again, let's leave that debate to the constitutional scholars who think they can get inside the framers' heads. I'd like to see them put on some wigs so they can see what it actually felt like to be inside one of those Founding Fathers' heads. Finally, there's one thing in that there First Amendment that I do not take issue with because it's as clear as the noses on your pretty little faces. It's the opening statement upon which the First Amendment is predicated. It says, and I quote, "Congress shall make no law." Let's stop right here. Yes, my fellow patriots, according to the Constitution, Congress makes the laws in this country, no one else. But today, Congress has fallen way short in that responsibility to do so. They've abrogated that authority to the president. And if this president can't make the law, he'll do what he can to break the law. While there's plenty more substantive discussion to be had about the First Amendment, for now, as I say at the end of each of my weekly sermons, if you and me put our pretty little heads together, we may still be able to figure out how to get that there Constitution right. Thank you all for listening.
Rusty Stubblefield is an unemployed certified auto mechanic and deacon at the Church of Our Lady of Original Sin. And now, it's time for a brief musical interlude performed by the world-renowned Electric Love Orchestra. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with this week's Conflated Conspiracy Theories.
I've seen this game before, and I'll see this game again. And the score's still the same. The score's still the same. Yes, the score's still the same. The score's still the same. I'll watch again once more, 'cause I do enjoy the pain. But the score's still the same. The score's still the same. Yeah, the score's still the same. Yes, the score's still the same. I thought hit a grand slam last time, but this time there's no men on base. But the score's still the same. The score's still the same. Yeah, the score's still the same. Yes, the score's still the same.
And we're back. In our next segment, we'll be sharing various homegrown conspiracy theories that have been developed by our staff of creative writers and novice journalists who believe first and foremost that, at the Conflation Station, anything is possible. We invite you, our listeners, to share your own homegrown conspiracy theories by sending an email to bearberrypathmusic, one word, @gmail.com. That's bearberrypathmusic, one word, @gmail.com, and place the words conspiracy theory in the subject line. Today, we will be turning our attention to conflated conspiracy theories that focus on presidential executive orders and the arts. As part of its crackdown on all things foreign on U.S. soil, the Trump administration is now targeting Chinese restaurants. Yes, you heard that correctly. President Trump has signed an executive order forcing the closure of Chinese restaurants in all 50 states, effective on July 1st. As you can imagine, Trump's proclamation does not sit well with millions of Chinese food takeout fans across the country. According to the World Journal, the largest Chinese language newspaper in the U.S., shuttering Chinese restaurants will not only disrupt the weekly dining plans of faithful Chinese food enthusiasts, but will also result in significant disruption to the global food chain. In a press conference held last week, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said that President Trump has been very clear about his position on Chinese food. He believes that there are many other ethnic food substitutes available for public consumption that are more nutritious and better tasting than Chinese food. For example, Italian restaurants offer many similar menu items. If someone likes egg rolls, they can order a cannoli at an Italian restaurant for dessert. As an alternative to crab rangoon, diners can go to an Italian restaurant and order a delicious plate of lobster ravioli. And for those hardworking Americans who like pork lo mein, one has to look no further than spaghetti and meatballs. Representatives of the Chinese American Food Society have reached out to the Trump administration in search of a compromise. In a statement issued by Society President Yun Yang, he told the press that in an effort to keep Chinese restaurants open, Chinese food restaurateurs would be willing to incorporate some American dishes into their menus. Trump officials countered Yun Yang's offer with menu items such as the Big Mac, French fries, and chicken McNuggets. Our team of reporters is awaiting Yun Yang's response. Still on the table, Trump is also considering closing all Chinese dry cleaning businesses in the U.S. Department of Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins wanted to make it crystal clear that the ban on Chinese restaurants will not extend to closing any Thai restaurants. Rollins said, and I quote, "Unlike mainland China, the Taiwanese are our close allies. They supply the United States with critical technology infrastructure, and we do not want to piss them off." Our reporter on the scene reminded the secretary that Thai food originates from Thailand, not Taiwan. For his next round of executive orders related to food, Trump is considering shutting down all Mexican restaurants in the U.S. According to Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Mexican food is really tough on the digestive system. Kennedy cited that, according to the World Health Organization, the average life expectancy for a male in Mexico is 67.2 years of age, while in the U.S., for men and women combined, it is 77.6 years. Kennedy said, "The life expectancy gap between Mexicans and Americans is just one more reason we don't want those damn Mexicans crossing the border." Although President Trump challenged the statistics RFK Jr. cited from the World Health Organization, Trump supports Kennedy's view and said, and I quote, "With risk of insulting my good friends at Taco Bell, if we're going to shut down foreign restaurants in America, it might as well be the whole enchilada." Trump added that he does not like being called the taco president. And now it's time to take another uplifting musical break with the inimitable sound of the one and only Electric Glove Orchestra.
My hands in the clouds. My feet on the ground. My hands in the clouds. My feet on the ground. My feet on the ground. That's right.
Our next story focuses on music and the arts. President Trump's hostile takeover of the Kennedy Center this past February is just one of his many conquests in his war on woke culture in America. After purging 18 Democratic appointees from the Kennedy Center's board, President Trump installed his own cronies, including but not limited to Usha Vance, the vice president's wife, Susie Wiles, his own chief of staff, Dan Scavino, his deputy chief of staff, and Allison Lutnick, the wife of Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. As planned, the newly appointed board immediately and unanimously elected President Trump as the board's chairman. This coup is just the overture in Trump's newly created national opera, which he calls Operation Aida. Trump said that the Italians and the Germans have their own national operas. It's about time that America had one too. Earlier this week, our team of novice reporters also learned that the Trump administration is currently in talks with NBC Universal to take control of the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, with Paramount Media to acquire MTV, and with the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences to grab control of the Grammy Awards. According to Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, and I quote, "The president loves music, all kinds of music. He loves to dance with or without music, and he is seizing this monumental moment in time to get the entire nation to dance to his tune." During Trump's recent rise to power, many recording artists have shunned Trump because they do not want their music associated with him, his policies, or his politics. This diverse list of A-list artists includes, but is not limited to, Aerosmith, Andrew Lloyd Webber, The Animals, Beyoncé, Bruce Springsteen, Celine Dion, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Earth, Wind and Fire, Eddie Grant, Elton John, Foo Fighters, Guns N' Roses, Linkin Park, Luciano Pavarotti, Neil Young, Nickelback, The O'Jays, Olivia Rodrigo, Ozzy Osbourne, Pharrell Williams, Phil Collins, Prince, Queen, R.E.M., Rihanna, The Rolling Stones, Sinead O'Connor, and even Twisted Sister. Upon learning that both Prince and Queen took issues with his policies, Trump commented that he thought he had an excellent relationship with both Queen Camilla of England and Prince Harry. Trump said, and I quote, "We all loved the British invasion in the 1960s, but if they try it again, they'll have to contend with our new, big, beautiful Golden Dome missile defense system." In spite of being rejected by most mainstream musical artists, Trump has cozied up to several hip-hop, rap, and country artists to help get his populist message across. These artists include Snoop Dogg, Azalea Banks, Annual AA, Fivio Foreign, Soulja Boy, Billy Ray Cyrus, DaBaby, Jason Aldean, Kanye West, Kid Rock, Kodak Black, Lil Pump, MIA, Wacka Flacka Flame, Lee Greenwood, Ted Nugent, Chris Brown, Nelly, and the Village People. In reference to his newest music pop allies, Trump was quoted as saying, "These are my homies and my peeps for shizzle." Trump will be unveiling a new line of hats to brand his new musical empire. The hats will read MAGMA, MAGMA, which stands for Make America Great Musically Again. The new MAGMA hats will retail for $50 on the Truth Social website. Trump also asked the members of the Kennedy Center's board if they would be interested in making a bid for the Oscars, otherwise known as the Academy Awards, and Broadway's Tony Awards. In commenting on the Oscars, Trump said that little gold-plated man they call Oscar symbolizes everything I stand for. In a somewhat related story, last week, Taylor Swift recently paid in excess of $300 million to acquire the rights to her entire musical catalog. Our team of novice reporters learned that President Trump attempted to kibosh the deal by imposing a 500% tariff on the transaction.
Well, we've reached our destination. We'll be back next week to pick you up for yet another journey to and from the Conflation Station.